At a public forum yesterday, Texas Governor Rick Perry said the Deepwater Horizon oil spill should not, quote, cause a knee-jerk reaction that says we're going to shut down drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. According to thinkprogress.org, Governor Perry rejected the suggestion that deregulation might be to blame for the spill, or the massive mine disaster, or the financial meltdown. He said the spill might have been, quote, an act of God. In our fourth story tonight, the forum was partly funded by BP to promote deregulation. House Republican leader John Boehner also not backing down from the Republican position of pushing for more drilling onshore and off, nor is it just Republicans. Democratic Senator Mary Landrieu, who represents thousands of Louisiana fishermen whose fishing season came to an abrupt end at 6 p.m. prevailing local time tonight, is unmoved by the implications of this spill, budging not at all in her demand for new drilling, even after Jon Stewart pointed out on The Daily Show that her position on the safety of that drilling has budged quite a bit from the days when she lined up squarely to defend it, along with a long line of Republicans.
It is safe to drill, and we need to do more of that.
We can do this in an environmentally sound way.
Our companies have done a wonderful job making sure that we are both environmentally sound, but also able to produce the energy.
They do drill today in an environmentally safe way.
Oil rigs today generally don't cause spills. They are technologically very advanced.
The environmentalists are wrong, actually. We can drill safely off the shores of America.
Spoken like true scientists from the first reel of a disaster movie. If only these pre-spill politicians like Senator Mary Landrieu, Louisiana, had listened to post-spill realists like Senator Mary Landrieu of Louisiana.
No one has ever claimed, including myself, who's an unabashed opponent, a proponent of the industry, that drilling is risk-free.
No, you never claimed it. You emphatically stated it.
Dallas Morning News reports also Monday at that conference funded by British Petroleum, Governor Perry defended the safety record BP compiled prior to last month's death of 11 people at the Deepwater well. BP, he said, quote, historically had a very good safety record from my perspective. It would seem then that Sarah Palin never mentioned to Governor Perry that in her brief tenure as governor of Alaska, BP pleaded guilty to criminal charges there, for which BP is still on probation, after neglecting one of its pipelines there for more than 8 years, including Palin's entire term on the state's Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, allowing bacteria to build up and erode it from within, spilling more than 200,000 gallons onto the Alaskan tundra. Less clear, however, is why Governor Perry's perspective did not even include his own state during his own tenure as governor. March 23, 2005, Texas City, Texas. Just last year, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, issued its largest fine ever, $87 million to BP, not just for safety violations that led to the massive 2005 explosion, which killed 15 and injured another 170, but for 270 violations of its agreement afterward to clean up its act, plus 439 new violations. 4 people died at the Texas City refinery in separate incidences after that blast. And what about Deepwater offshore drilling? Is there any evidence suggesting stricter regulation rather than a less angry God might have prevented or mitigated this disaster? CleanSkies.com reports BP was cited in 2007 for poor training in well control. It was fined only $41,000, fined $75,000 for lacking adequate water pressure in one rig's firefighting system, fined only $80,000 for bypassing safety alarms. Regulators last year and this honored BP for its outstanding safety record, a record BP trumpeted in pushing back just last year on a new attempt to have government safety audits replace the industry's voluntary self-audits. According to a lawsuit filed by some family members of the 11 missing and presumed dead oil rig workers in the Gulf, the oil services company Halliburton improperly and negligently sealed the Deepwater Horizon pipeline to the well itself. Improper seals, ABC News reports, responsible for more than a dozen previous blowouts in the Gulf. The Wall Street Journal reporting that Deepwater Horizon did not have a remote-controlled shutoff valve that is mandatory in at least 2 other countries and is used voluntarily by other drilling companies in this. In 2000, the Minerals Management Service began considering making that and other backup measures mandatory. The oil industry pushed back against the device. 3 years later, an administration led by 2 oil men, including the former CEO of the aforementioned Halliburton, decided not to mandate any new backup systems, the shutoff valve being, in the words of the administration itself, quote, not recommended because they tend to be very Costly, they cost $500,000, less than Mary Landrieu has received from the oil industry, far less than the $5 million that BP's CEO Tony Hayward makes per year. His company reporting $5.6 billion for the first 3 months of this year. Not revenue, profits. The kind of profits apparently that can prophesize a future free of regulation, but full of acts of God.